The Eastern Shore MPO is a transportation planning organization composed of elected officials from Baldwin County, the City of Fairhope, the City of Daphne, the City of Spanish Fort, and the Town of Loxley. Your elected officials are committed to working together as a team to maintain a safe and efficient transportation network on the Eastern Shore. The Eastern Shore is an ideal location to bicycle, walk, and run. With the number of bicyclists and pedestrians using the sidewalks and roads on the Eastern Shore increasing, it is important for both motorists and non-motorists alike to be aware of basic safety rules. In 2014, the Eastern Shore MPO prepared a bicycle and pedestrian transportation plan for the Eastern Shore. The plan, which can be viewed on the MPO website, emphasizes cycling and walking as a form of transportation and encourages residents to consider bicycling and walking for trips less than 3 miles long. A 1 to 2 mile trip takes just a few minutes longer by bicycle than by car. Even on a hot summer day, a 1 to 2 mile bicycle trip can be more pleasant than riding in a hot car while waiting for the AC to cool down. Whenever individuals choose to bicycle or walk for a trip instead of driving their cars, those individuals are taking vehicles off the roadway while enjoying the added benefit of daily exercise and better health. Let's talk about some rules related to cyclists. Under Alabama law, cyclists are granted the same rights and duties as motorists with the exception of a few special rules that apply only to cyclists. If you're a cyclist, you should first make sure you have the proper safety equipment. You should always wear a helmet. Alabama law requires cyclists under the age of 16 to wear a helmet. If a bicycle is used at night, Alabama law requires that the bicycle be equipped with a light in the front and a light or reflector in the back. You should always remember that your bicycle is considered a vehicle, and as such, you are required to travel in the same direction as traffic and obey all traffic lights and signs. When riding on the roadway, Alabama law requires cyclists to ride as near to the right side of the road as practicable and specifies that cyclists may not ride more than 2 abreast. Cyclists who violate Alabama's road use laws are subject to being ticketed and fined by local law enforcement. When cycling, you should be careful not to weave in and out of parked cars, as drivers are not likely to see you. Also be cautious when passing parked cars, as drivers may open their doors unexpectedly. It's a good idea to learn hand signals so you can warn a driver when you are about to stop or turn. To indicate that you are going to turn left, simply point left with your left arm. There are 2 ways to indicate that you are going to turn right. One option is to bend your left arm with your hand up and palm flat. The other option is to simply point right with your right arm. To show drivers you plan to stop, bend your left arm with your hand down and fist closed. Finally, you should never wear headphones while riding a bike, as it prevents you from hearing the traffic around you. Cyclists should always be considerate of motorists, just as motorists must be considerate of cyclists. At the end of the day, the primary purpose of the transportation network is to transport goods and services. Cyclists can help mend the sometimes turbulent relationship between cyclists and motorists by showing some deference to motorists when using the transportation network. Now let's talk about some rules related to pedestrians. As a pedestrian, your own safety should be your top priority. Even a collision between a pedestrian and a slow-moving vehicle can result in death or serious injury. When walking or running, you should always be aware of your surroundings and be mindful of the traffic around you. Under Alabama law, if a sidewalk or path is present, a pedestrian must walk or run on that sidewalk or path. Always be careful as you approach driveways or intersections with blind spots. Remember that motorists often forget to look for pedestrians. As a pedestrian, your own caution is your best defense. Alabama law requires that pedestrians utilize crosswalks at the corners of intersections whenever available. Even if you are crossing at a corner and you are using traffic signals and a crosswalk, make sure you still look both ways. Never assume that a car will see you and stop. Be especially mindful of cars that are making a right turn at a red light or a right turn onto a street. These drivers are often looking left and might not see you crossing in front of them from the right. Pedestrians who cross a roadway at any point other than within a marked crosswalk must yield the right-of-way to all vehicles on the roadway. If a sidewalk or path is not present along a roadway, you should make an effort to locate an alternate route that does have sidewalks. Pedestrians should avoid walking or running on a roadway if at all possible. Under Alabama law, pedestrians who walk on the roadway must walk as near as possible to the edge of the road, including on the road's shoulder or the area adjacent to the road if available. The law requires pedestrians using the roadway to walk or run facing traffic. This allows the pedestrian to make eye contact with motorists as they approach. Remember that the slightest distraction or error on the part of a motorist can have deadly consequences for a pedestrian who is walking or running on the road. Always remember that pedestrians who violate Alabama's road use laws are subject to being ticketed and fined by local law enforcement. Now, a few reminders for motorists. Motorists often fail to look for pedestrians and cyclists as they pull out of driveways or make right turns in general. When pulling out of a driveway that is crossed by a sidewalk, motorists should ease their vehicle up to the sidewalk and confirm that no cyclists or pedestrians are about to cross the driveway. This is especially important when there are blind spots limiting the visibility of the motorist. As a motorist, it is important to remember that under Alabama law, cyclists have the same right to use the roadway as someone who is driving a vehicle. No one likes to be delayed by slow-moving vehicles on the roadway, whether farm equipment, a slow driver, or a cyclist. You can pass a cyclist as long as you follow all the rules that apply to passing another vehicle. Remember that a cyclist has very little protection, and even the slightest contact between your vehicle and the cyclist could result in a deadly accident. As a general safety measure, motorists should give at least 3 feet of space when passing a cyclist. The Eastern Shore is a beautiful place for walking, running, and cycling. Working together, pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists can create and sustain an enjoyable and safe community for all users of the transportation network. Thank you for taking a few moments to view this important video. If you have any questions about transportation issues on the Eastern Shore, please contact the Eastern Shore MPO. Remember that by driving safely, you help make Baldwin County one of the best places to live and raise a family.